please now Mike Currie, who's from Volkswagen, Hillcrest Volkswagen, and he's been doing all these wonderful things for the city as well. Put your hands together for Mike Currie.
I wanted to tell a story tonight that was sort of a life-changing experience for me. It was sort of a dark 6-month period in my life, but the lessons I learned from it will last a lifetime. And sort of set the stage. The year is 2007. I was about 55 pounds overweight, and I was taking a medication called minocycline. And one day, I woke up and I had joint pain. But it was like, you know, I've had a little bit of joint pain or aches and pains before, but this just seemed different. And it went away throughout the day, kind of came back at night, and that continued on for several days. So at first I thought, you know, could it be that I'm getting arthritis and all of a sudden I've got arthritis after just no warning, all of a sudden one day? And so I started to check things out, like natural remedies for arthritis. I was a little reluctant to go to the doctor because I figured they would just put me on some other medication that would, you know, be some sort of pain reliever for the rest of my life or something, right? So I continued on this way, and you know, the pain just got worse and worse and worse. So finally, I decided, hey, you know what? Might as well go to the family doctor. And when I went to see him, he was sympathetic to the concept that I really didn't want to be on, you know, medications and that sort of thing. So, hey, you know, is there any natural cures? What is this? So he thought, he didn't even think of the medication I was already on for whatever reason. And we went on to look at, you know, was it something I've been eating lately, dietary, you know, looking at food allergies, that type of thing. So he decided I should get some blood work. So, and that's what we did. So get the blood work, and a few days later, we went and met up again, and he was puzzled. And he thought maybe at the age of 35, I'm all of a sudden come down with arthritis, and that's just the way it is. So I figured, let's go, you know, get an appointment with an arthritis specialist. But the challenge was that the specialist had about a 5-month waiting list. So we were already a month in, and then it was 5 months. So that gave me time to really reflect on, my God, now all of a sudden I have this sort of debilitating disease, and it's like I can't move around. And at the time, I was on kind of a upward career, you know, path, and I had some other investments and some business partners and dealings that I was dealing with, but I didn't want anyone to know because I thought the worst thing in the world could be if any of my lenders or employers felt that I was weak or dying. Well, no one wants to invest with the guy that's got a debilitating disease. So I really had to kind of grin and bear it a lot of times when I was in meetings and stuff like that. And at the time, I traveled for work by plane every month, and it was crippling getting out of the plane seats every day or every month after a 2-hour flight. It was really, really hard. And then I also felt that, you know, my wife and I, we planned on having children. We hadn't had any yet. And I really felt like I let her down by the fact that I got myself into a situation where I have this debilitating disease, and now I'm going to be like the guy that, you know, I'm not going to be able to move around and play catch and run and all that sort of stuff. So then, you know, before this all happened, I was already trying to lose weight and all that sort of stuff. And now I was like, still trying to go for walks at night, but it was like I was walking like a 90-year-old man. It was like a little shuffle. And that's, you know, that's just the way it was. So eventually, what happened was the 5 months went by, and here we are. I had the opportunity to meet with this arthritis specialist. And I went to her office. It was in the old part of the VG, not far from here, actually. And I went and sat down. The receptionist took me to this office, and I sat there, and the office was so full of papers and books, and it was just this crazy office. I could barely find a chair, and I'm sitting there waiting, and I'm thinking, this is a big waste of time. because I thought best case scenario, she's just going to come up with some sort of way of dealing with this for the rest of my life, and there was going to be no cure. And so about 20 minutes go by, and this kind of middle-aged doctor with kind of a mad scientist flavor to her comes in with the chart. She comes in, she's all scattered. She sits down in the chair and she says to me, she looks at it, she says, "Are you still taking monocycline?" And I say, "Well, yeah." And then she's like, "Well, do you need to?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Just something that I've been on. I think everything seems fine, so maybe not." I just never questioned it. Just sometimes taking medication, just take it. And she went on to say that one of the rare side effects of that drug is a drug-induced lupus. And so for those that don't know, lupus is like a crippling disease, which is like way worse than just having ordinary, rheumatoid arthritis. So she said, I think you have all the symptoms of this, and the only thing that we can think of is this could be your issue. So I left the office that day, and she had given me the instructions: stop taking the drug, call me in a week if you still have the pain. And what was remarkable was 48 hours later, it was gone. It was like a miracle. I just stopped taking it, and bam. It was like, I couldn't believe it. I was cured. I had to wait all this time, unfortunately, for this specialist. I would have liked to know after the first month rather than wait the other 5. So here I had this 6 months experience of basically going undercover with a debilitating disease, and I really realized what a vicious cycle it is to try when you kind of take your body for granted, and you just, all of a sudden, here I am. Like, I made all these promises while I felt I was sick to say, hey, you know what? If I could ever walk again, properly, I was like, I'll praise my legs every day when I get up. If I can just, hold a coffee cup without, my hands were starting to get like claws. And I was like, if I could just move my hands again, I promise, I'll just, just praise them and say how wonderful they are. So I made all these promises. So that created this whole new problem, because now all of a sudden I've been given the second chance. And it was like, oh, wow, I actually have to kind of take action here if I really do want to be a role model. And so what I did go and I joined Weight Watchers. And in 6 months, I did lose the 55 pounds. Now, due to my love of cake and cookies and whatnot, I've gained back some of it. But I've made kind of a promise, and it's like a conscience burned into my head, vow to never get back to that state that I was in. And then, of course, since that time, my wife and I have two boys. One of them is here tonight. Lucky enough to be able to chase them all over the place. And they do give me a run for my money. And the other thing is that I started to think about, really about not taking my body for granted, and how it's like really terrible and a real vicious cycle if you do end up with something that's debilitating, to get yourself back on track. So I've been kind of on this sort of mission of mindfulness. So back in December 31st, 2011, I ended up, I gave up alcohol, for example, and so I haven't had any since then, that type of thing, right? Not that I was like some raving drunk or anything, I just wanted to give it up as like, could I do it? It's like a challenge. And then going forward, I feel that some of the things I want to do are to try to find, food sources that will prevent me from going on any medications, hopefully forever in my life. And that's my story.